Deep inside a silent forest, a tiny sparrow discovers something no creature was ever meant to see. What begins as a simple search for a home turns into a chilling encounter with shadows that twist, breathe, and watch. But just when terror rises from the mist, something even more mysterious descends from above. What saved the little sparrow that day? And what exactly was hiding behind the bamboo? Stay with me, because this story will pull you into a world where the forest listens, the shadows move, and the truth is nothing you expect. A home for the little sparrow. The morning sun drifted through the tall bamboo, warm and pale. The air smelled of wet leaves and soft earth. A little sparrow fluttered between the branches, searching for a quiet place to rest. Its tiny wings trembled from the long journey. A sudden gust of wind rattled the bamboo like dry bones. The sparrow froze. The forest grew strangely silent. The sparrow felt the air tighten around its small body. It hopped onto a crooked branch, its claws gripping the rough bark. The branch creaked under its weight. A shadow moved between the leaves. The sparrow sensed something watching. Its chest rose and fell with sharp breaths. The wind stopped completely, as if the whole forest held its breath. The sparrow heard a faint cracking sound behind the trunk. The noise crawled slowly toward the branch. The air filled with the scent of cold moss. The sparrow turned its head, feathers brushing against the stiff bark. The cracking sound grew louder. Something unseen pressed the bamboo aside. Something unseen pressed the bamboo aside. The little sparrow felt the branch tremble beneath its feet. Its heartbeat thumped like tiny drums inside its narrow chest. The forest no longer sounded familiar. The scent of moss thickened until it became heavy in the sparrow's throat. A thin veil of mist slid across the ground. The bamboo leaves rustled without wind. The sparrow stretched its neck and peered into the shifting mist. A long, low hiss slithered through the silence. The sparrow crouched, feathers tight against its fragile body. The shadow behind the bamboo stretched higher, as if rising from the earth itself. The sparrow felt the air grow colder. The cold wrapped around its wings like a warning. The branch groaned again. A pale shape flickered between the leaves. The sparrow blinked, unable to tell if the shape was near or far. The hiss came again, softer, drawn out, almost like a whisper. Every instinct inside the sparrow urged it to fly. Yet its wings felt pinned by fear. The mist climbed the trunk like climbing fingers. The sparrow watched it curl around the bark, inching toward its claws. The sparrow lifted one foot, then placed it back down. The bark felt damp now. The forest seemed to lean closer, listening. A sudden thud echoed in the distance. The sparrow jerked, its feathers puffing in alarm. Another thud followed, heavier, slower. The ground trembled with each one. The shadow in the bamboo pulsed with movement. A faint metallic scent drifted through the air. The sparrow tasted it on its tongue. The sound of breathing drifted from the mist. It was not the breathing of a small creature. It was deep, dragging, uneven. The sparrow shivered as the breathing grew louder. The bamboo stalks pressed against one another with sharp squeaks. A wide space opened between them, as if forced aside by something massive. The sparrow leaned back on the branch. The mist parted. A single eye appeared in the gap. It was large, round, and gleamed with a dull silver glow. The sparrow felt its chest tighten. The eye blinked once, slow and deliberate. The sparrow could not look away. The creature behind the bamboo inhaled again. The sound scraped like stones grinding together. The eye moved closer. The mist clung to its outline, making its shape look stretched and misshapen. The sparrow stepped backward on the branch. The branch bent beneath its weight. The creature exhaled, and the mist rippled toward the sparrow. The breath carried the scent of damp soil, old leaves, and something sharp beneath it. The sparrow shook as the cold air brushed its feathers. Another eye slid into view beside the first. The creature watched without blinking. The sparrow opened its beak, but no sound came out. The creature shifted. The bamboo groaned as its weight pressed forward. A long, curved shadow extended across the forest floor. The sparrow followed the shadow with its eyes. It stretched far past the trunk, twisting like a tail. The creature growled, low and rumbling. The sparrow felt the vibration travel through the branch into its claws. A sudden rustle burst behind the sparrow. The sparrow whirled around. A second shadow slipped between the leaves. Two shapes now circled the bamboo. The sparrow crouched lower, breath shaking. Something brushed the lower leaves. A dark limb or branch dragged slowly across the clearing. The sparrow heard the scraping sound again. The mist curled upward as if excited. The forest canopy dimmed. The light thinned until the sparrow could barely see beyond the branch. The eyes glowed brighter in the darkness. The creatures moved closer, one step at a time. Their steps made no sound. Only the bamboo reacted, bending and twisting with every movement. The sparrow's wings twitched. The cold sank deeper through its feathers. The mist rose high enough to touch the underside of the branch. The sparrow pulled its feet upward. The mist followed like reaching hands. The creatures leaned forward, their shapes almost clear. Their faces resembled something living, yet not entirely alive. Their skin looked smooth like river stones, but their movements were slow and deliberate. The sparrow felt the forest tightening around it. Every direction felt closed. The bamboo stood still, as if waiting. The mist settled over the ground in thin layers. The creatures inhaled again. The forest echoed with their breath. The sparrow sensed their attention focus on its trembling form. It lifted one wing, trying to gather the strength to fly. The cold clung to its feathers like chains. The eyes narrowed. The creatures tilted their heads in unison. A low rumble rolled through the clearing. The rumble grew louder, shaking the air. The sparrow pressed itself against the branch. The creatures crept closer. The mist climbed higher. The eyes widened. The sparrow felt a sudden pulse of warm air behind it. Something moved above the bamboo. The creatures stopped. The sparrow turned its head slowly, feathers rustling against the bark. A new shadow stretched across the treetops. The forest waited. The sparrow felt a shift in the air, heavy and deliberate. A presence descended through the canopy. The branch bent under the weight of the moment. The creatures lowered themselves as if preparing to strike. The sparrow stared upward as the shadow spread wide overhead. The forest darkened again. The air thickened. The bamboo trembled. And something enormous reached down through the mist. Dash dash dash. The enormous shape lowered through the mist. The sparrow held its breath. The creatures stiffened, their silver eyes fixed upward. A deep hum filled the clearing, steady and calm. Warm air washed over the sparrow. The mist thinned beneath the glow of a gentle light. A wide pair of wings unfolded above the treetops. Their feathers shimmered like morning sunlight. The creatures hissed, shrinking back into the bamboo. The light brightened. The shadows recoiled as if burned. The sparrow felt strength return to its wings. The towering figure descended, but not as a threat. Its wings swept the mist aside with a single graceful motion. The clearing cleared. The forest breathed again. The creatures retreated, slipping between the bamboo and vanishing into the deeper forest. Their silver eyes faded into the dark. Silence settled. The sparrow remained frozen on the branch. The winged figure hovered before it, peaceful and still. Its feathers glowed with soft gold. Its eyes held no danger. Only quiet understanding. The sparrow lifted its head. The figure extended one luminous wing toward the small bird. Warmth touched the sparrow's feathers. The cold fear melted from its chest. The sparrow chirped once, soft but steady. The figure nodded. The bamboo straightened. The mist withdrew into the earth. The forest brightened with gentle daylight. The sparrow spread its wings. The air felt light again. The figure rose, lifting with effortless grace. The golden glow faded upward into the canopy. The sparrow watched until the last glimmer vanished. The clearing stood peaceful. The forest breathed quietly, alive and calm. The sparrow took flight, circling once above the branch. A new warmth filled its small heart. It glided toward the open sky, seeking a place untouched by shadows. A home where light waited. A home where the little sparrow could finally rest.